welcome to Tiny Game Chronicles episode 29. My name is Marcus, and here with my good friend Michael, every other week we discuss games that are quick plays but epic journeys. It is good to see you today, Michael. How are you doing?
I am well, Marcus. Had a long day. It's obviously late afternoon, and I've just been moderating today a lot of presentations. So this is another moderation of sorts. So
I guess so, yeah.
I think but other than that, I'm well, and I'm glad to be spending this time with you, talking about a game that we both have thoughts about, right?
We do
Spilled.
both have thoughts about that. Imagine that. Yes. Well, before we get into Spilled, though, I wanted to ask you, we haven't really talked all that much about this lately. What are you playing these days? I'm curious. Outside of the tiny games
Oh.
that we play for the show, what else are you playing these days?
So I'm stuck with because I wanted to do a JRPG this year. I try and do one every year, and I'm doing Trails of the Sky, the first chapter redo, and I'm about halfway.
Wow, I
And
didn't know this. Yeah, that's
yeah,
okay. Yeah.
it's good. It's very crisp. It's incredibly colorful. And it's been, I think the last times I played a Trails game was on my Vita. So we're talking, I think, 10, 15, or whatever years ago. So it's been a while. I think 215, 216, around about there. So 10
Mhm.
years ago. Yeah, and this is the first chapter is kind of how the series actually started. So it's good to kind of see that remastered, rethought. They've been very true to the original material, but they've added a lot of quality of life improvements. So it's a very different, much less of a grindy experience. And I actually prefer playing JRPGs with not too much of a grind, if that makes sense. Although I'm playing in nightmare mode, so which is the
Oh,
highest difficulty level,
yeah.
just
Do you
because I
usually do
wanted a
this with
challenge.
JRPGs? Do you usually
Yep,
go to the heart?
yep,
Really? Interesting.
yep, 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 yep,
I'm
yep,
usually the
yep.
other way
So
around. If anything, I'll try to play at normal difficulty, but if I face resistance in a JRPG, I'm like, I'll drop it down to easy because I don't want there to be too much challenge for me in that style of game.
well, the nice thing
Interesting.
that you'll know is that the difficulty curve at the beginning is quite high,
Hmm.
but it'll actually decrease the longer you play the game. Just because you have the levels, you have done that initial grind, and so it's easier for you to get through. So yeah,
Okay. Cool.
so it's a little bit. It doesn't stay all the same. It definitely gets easier, but you need to suffer at the beginning, at least the first 10 levels, right? If that
Right.
makes sense. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So I've been playing a few things. One of them, which so I played through a couple of. Well, I'm playing through. I played through a few tiny games. So one
Okay.
was called Pilgrims. I posted about it in our Discord just recently. It's a point and click, which usually is not
That
my
so
thing.
surprised me,
I
Marcus. That
know.
surprised
Well, I
me.
picked it up on the cheap on a recent Steam sale. I think it was like a dollar or $1.50 or something like that. And I like the art style. And I was like, okay, give it a shot. It's supposed to only be it's quite short, like an hour ish. And yeah, it's really cute. This is by the same folks. These guys have done a few games. I know they had the only one I had heard of before was Machinarium. I think I
Hmm.
had played it, years ago. I think it was a PlayStation, I don't know, just a small game, like a downloadable game on
Yep.
PS3.
Yeah. It was
Um,
on mobile as well, by the way, because I also
yeah.
played it. I played it on my iPad back then.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the thing that's really good about this is that I think it caters to folks who don't typically who may not like point and clicks like myself because there are many solutions to the kind of the puzzles. So you end up collecting things in your inventory like you do. You go to different locations. You try to combine, interact with the environment using the things that you've collected, and it's all done in a really cute art style. Took me about an hour to get through it. It
Cool.
encourages replayability because there's achievements associated with kind of every puzzle solution that you come up with. And so like I by the end of it, I think I had completing the game, I had done 22 achievements, but there's like
Oh wow.
50 achievements. So there's lots of different
Wow.
ways to kind of get through the game. So that was cool. The other one that I've been playing, which is another tiny game, not done it yet. I think maybe about halfway. It's called Nocturnal, Michael. It's
Yes.
the reason that I found out about this is a recent 6-1 indie showcase featured Nocturnal 2, the sequel. And I was like, oh, this looks pretty cool. It's a 2D action platformer. It kind of looks like a Castlevania-ish sort of game, except it's a hand-drawn art style. And
Brilliant.
yeah, I've been playing through that probably about an hour through it. It's good, really good. Nothing spectacular, I'd say, but it's fun. And then the other one, which is definitely not a tiny game, I'm maybe 20-ish hours in. I just decided to pick up Far Cry 6, Michael.
Oh,
Yeah,
and how are you finding it?
it's good. It's probably maybe as I'm inclined to do on a show like Tiny Game Chronicles. It's probably about 10 to 20 hours too long.
Okay.
I would be preferred to be kind of like approaching end game, kind of where I'm at, but I think I've still
Hmm.
got. I might be about halfway done, but it's fine. I'm a Far Cry fan. Didn't
Hmm.
really like 5, but really like 3. Liked 4 quite a bit as well. And so this feels like a little bit of a return to form for Far Cry.
Very good.
I think 4 years out from when it came out, so I'm not on the cutting edge of Far Cry, but yeah, it's been good. It's
I
a
loved.
popcorn movie. It's a popcorn movie.
Yeah, I'm with
Yeah,
you. I'm with
yeah,
you. Don't have to put your switch your brain on, so to say.
yeah,
And I loved. Unfortunately, I only played one, and that was Far Cry 3.
yeah,
And I loved Far Cry 3.
yeah.
For the
This
for the
feels
experience that
more
it
like
was.
it. It's more. It's a
Okay.
tropical environment.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, and yeah, yeah. So, anyways,
Very
yeah,
good, Marcus. Very, very good. So maybe they're just two games that I'll add to the list that you've played. One which I think some of our listeners might know is Ball Pit.
yes.
Absolutely love Ball Pit. I think it could be on the short list for Game of the Year. It definitely has that kind of vampire survivor spirit, mixed with a little bit of Balatro. Yeah, I think people. I don't want to go too much into the game because I think people might have heard it. And another one that was interesting, which has a little bit of a gambling kind of feel, is Slots and Daggers. So it's you're
Oh, you
playing an
did pick that up.
RPG,
Okay. Yeah, yeah,
exactly.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And there are slots where you can choose your type of weapons that you want to use against a specific monster, a specific enemy, a specific demon. You can choose what type of attack weapon you want, what type of defense weapon you want, and other bonuses that come with that. And the slots will kind of, yeah, choose the way forward, and it's about kind of planning a campaign throughout the map in which those slots either support to hinder you making progress. So it's short, so there are kind of short bursts of games, so that's why maybe it's a perfect tiny session, because I think that it's the same with Ball and Pit, right? The sessions are between 5 and I think maximum 15 minutes.
Okay.
And it's the same with Slots and Daggers. So it's a short experience, but obviously a longer narrative, if that makes sense, right? Regardless, depending on whether you're making progress or not. So yeah, nice to have these short type of experience together with our longer games, Marcus. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Well, very good. Before we get into our discussion about Spilled today, just wanted to remind folks that we've released actually a couple of episodes since our last kind of main
Yep.
one. So we did Arctic A's was our last kind of main line episode. Really fun discussion with Dave Jackson from Tales from the
Correct.
Backlog. I think safe to say maybe some mixed feelings on the game, but definitely a very weird and unusual and unique game, Arctic Eggs. And then beyond that, we also released a bonus episode last week for the game Consume Me, and we had a couple of great guests, Kate and Emily, on the show for that one, and I think we all liked that game quite a bit, Michael, and I think that was a really good discussion.
Yeah,
Fantastic episode.
it was the first time that we had 4 guests on, and I think
Mm-hmm.
that's a first. And I think it to have two female perspectives on a game like Consumi, I think really enriched the discussion that we've had. So I encourage everyone to listen to it. Yeah, Marcus, and I think we also together with Dave or at least with Dave's episode, started pushing and promoting our YouTube channel, right?
That's right. Yep. Yep. We can talk more about that maybe at the end.
Yep.
But yes, we do have a YouTube channel now, so that's
Yay!
fantastic. Yes. Okay, Michael, let's get into our discussion about Spilled. Spilled released on March 26, 2025 on PC and Mac. It was developed and published by a solo kind of dev out of the Netherlands by the name of Lente. Spilled is a cozy game where you control a boat, clean up the environment. There are 8 different biomes. You clean up waste, get money to upgrade your boat, and kind of work your way through these different environments. There's no Open Critic score, but currently it's very positive in terms of user reviews on Steam with more than 2,000 reviews. It was praised mostly for its brevity and this really chill, relaxed gameplay. So, Michael, we start off each of these discussions by asking ourselves a few questions. First, what did you play it on? About how long did it take you to beat? And what are some high-level thoughts about the game?
So I played it both on Steam and PC just to kind of see what the experience was like. It took me, I would say, just short of an hour and a half playing through everything. I went into every nook and cranny this game had to offer. So I took my time. I think I played it very cozily, which I think is the way that you're supposed to play it. And if I were to give it an alternative title, which kind of covers my top thoughts, I would say it's called Restore, Rescue, and Repeat. So the three the three R's. It's short, it's soothing, satisfying. I will put it a question mark in brackets, right? Because I'm not exactly sure whether I found it satisfying per se. It's a mellow game, and I think the highlight, or one of the highlights of the game, is that you obviously rescue animals, and these animals have names. So you might know that Jane Goodall recently passed away, and she's one of the top researchers when it comes to chimpanzees. And she used to give, contrary to contemporary researchers, names to the chimpanzees, and which kind of makes it an exercise in empathy. And for me, that was one of the highlights of the game, and something that I found very nice. What about you, Marcus?
I played Spilled on my Steam Deck. Probably not surprising. It took me a little over an hour, maybe an hour, 15 minutes to beat. I did get all the achievements. That's pretty straightforward for doing that.
Correct.
And some high-level thoughts. I think this game is fine. I think this game is... it's probably a weird thing to be saying on a show that highlights tiny games, but I think this game might be too tiny in several respects. It does feel, at least for my taste, maybe a little bit too basic. I wish I was wanting a little bit more, and I'm sure we're going to get into this as we discuss the game a little bit further. But I think that's where I'll leave it here. That's some high level thoughts for what I thought about Spill.
Yeah.
Okay, so I just wanted to give folks a brief reminder about how we talk about games on Tiny Game Chronicles. We like to identify 3 things that we think particularly stood out about a game and get into a deeper dive discussion onto each of those 3 things. And then in terms of spoilers, we avoid spoilers. I'm not really sure there's much to spoil in this game. We could talk about the very end of the game, and I don't think it's really going to impact somebody's enjoyment or kind of spoil. I think what you get at the very beginning is what you get throughout the game. So I think, I guess spoilers are okay for this game discussion, Michael. I think that I don't even know if spoilers is an appropriate term for this game, to be honest. I guess officially we'll say we'll cover spoilers, but I don't really know that this game can be spoiled.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
I think that's how we'll
totally with you.
Tackle it. Yeah.
There's not much of a story to spoil, if that makes sense, right?
No.
Yeah.
Okay, Michael, let's get into our standouts for Spilled. The first thing that we wanted to talk about was this, mellow gameplay that is in Spilled. How about you get us started and talk a little bit about the gameplay of Spilled?
So the controls and the I find them very accessible. So I think that anyone can pick up the game's build without any tutorials, and can make it, I don't know, instantly playable and also inclusive. There is a, a very relaxing, chilled way that you feel that you're maneuvering this boat, right? So there are no major hiccups here and there. I mean, I was playing obviously with a controller, so were you if you're on the Steam Deck, Marcus. Um, it feels purposeful, but it also feels here and there a little bit clunky. So
Yeah.
forwarding and reversing for me, and the way to turn the boat, right, wasn't always something that I found was easy to do. And yeah, that's why I would say maybe here and there were elements that I found a little bit clunky. But it never felt like it was overwhelming, right? So you could obviously do specific upgrades to your boat. There are basically three that you can do as you move from biome to biome. Yeah, totally what I would expect, and I think the gameplay is what added to that cozy mood, together with the music, right? That came with that experience. Marcus, how was it for you?
Yeah, I mean, you've kind of outlined the gameplay. Like there isn't that much to it, right? Basically, you're
Yeah,
going in these environments. They're relatively small, I would say,
correct.
and you're cleaning things up. And
Yep.
so I think each biome kind of introduces a new cleanup
Element,
element. Yeah, that's a
mechanic. Yeah, it's
mechanic or
element.
something.
Yeah,
You did mention that there are these upgrades. The three upgrades that you have the ability to get are one kind of like this, almost like a shovel that's like at the
correct.
front of your boat that kind of like
Correct.
gathers waste that's sitting on the top of the like bottles and stuff like that. And then
Correct.
the other one is like when you're cleaning up oil, like the capacity to clean up oil before you
It's
have
almost
to
like a tank, no?
a
That's on
tank,
your
yeah.
boat, no?
And
Yeah.
then I think the third one is the speed of your boat,
Your
right?
engine, exactly. You can
Yeah,
put on a bigger propeller to kind of hit
yeah.
faster.
And
Yeah, yeah.
you have to bring these, everything that you're cleaning up to kind of like a, I don't know, a recycling center or
A
something. You get
depot,
money,
exactly.
a
Yeah,
depot, yeah, you get money back, and then you can use that money to upgrade your ship into one of these three categories.
correct.
So I think, you know, obviously maybe it feels like I've already been a little bit negative on the game, but I think one thing that it does nicely is that it does introduce a new mechanic every time,
Bio,
right? So there's
exactly.
a different thing to clean up. Some of them work better than others. I would say like I found it kind of frustrating. I think it goes around with the control aspect that you were mentioning when you've got that shovel kind of thing at the front of your boat, trying to maneuver it so that you didn't lose bottles on
Debris.
your way to the depot.
Yeah,
My
exactly.
goodness.
I know, I know, I
They just
know.
kept falling out, and then you have to go back. And again, there's very little, there's no stakes for this game.
Yep.
Like
Yeah,
basically, so if you you lose a bottle, you just go back and get it. There's no penalty. There's no whatever. It is chill and cozy and relaxing, and that was the intention. So I guess
mm,
mission accomplished there. Um, but I think like some of those things they felt a little off. One thing I got a little frustrated is such a probably an extreme word, but thing it just didn't quite work. I think quite as well as it could have was when it introduced the mechanic of like picking up the barrel that
yep.
is the. It was hard to kind of like find the right spot that you were
Spot.
to lower your I don't know your what would it
Yeah,
claw to pick it up.
whatever it's like a
Every
lever that you have to take
every
so that
single time, yeah, every
yeah.
single time I've been like, okay, I'm lined up, and then I'd send it down and I'd miss it. I'm like, okay, well, okay, now you kind of know where you have to go, but it looked like you were lined up, and I don't know, there's something visually that just wasn't working for me.
Fetching barrels, right? So I don't know, oil
Yeah,
barrels or whatever that was, right? Or I
yeah,
don't know, toxic barrels.
yeah,
Totally with you, Marcus.
yeah,
That was the thing that I think irritated me the most, because like you, I could just never get it right.
yeah. And I mean, again,
Not even once.
there are no
Yeah,
stakes, so
yeah,
you don't get
exactly.
it once. No, you just do it another time. You move your boat, you adjust it a little bit, and you do it another, and then you probably have to do it a third time, and maybe a fourth time just to get it right. But
It's just
whatever.
like
Like
Greenpeace.
Just like Greenpeace. Yeah, so I mean, I don't know.
Uh,
There are, you're basically, you're going around the environment and you clean up until you clean up enough. You don't have to clean up 100% of the environment to be able to access the next one, the next,
Correct.
biome, right? But I would clean it 100%. You get a little achievement
Okay.
would pop before I moved on. And yeah, that's kind of what you're
I
doing.
actually did the same. I'd never
Yeah.
moved on directly as soon as I could. I just waited until everything was done.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not sure whether you also had this frustration, but every so now and again you were talking about not being able to pick up all those bottles or plastic. I would
Yeah.
imagine they're plastic bottles, right?
Hmm.
Sometimes a plastic bottle would hide behind a specific obstruction, and
Yeah.
then you couldn't see it. You would go around the biome all the way through, not knowing what is missing, until somewhere you kind of notice, oh, there is a plastic bottle, which is very difficult to see.
They're very small.
Um,
Yeah,
they're
especially on
very
the Steam Deck
small.
screen. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So that I found okay, a little bit frustrating, but okay, so be it.
Yeah, again, like to say that like this game frustrated me is such a overstatement because it's
Mm.
so low stakes that it's like could it have been done maybe a little bit better? Sure, but like frustrated is almost like too
Yeah,
strong
no,
a word, right? Because
no,
it's
you're right.
so,
You're
I
right.
get where you're coming from because I felt the same way, but it's just like I don't know, it's almost like it's too again, this sounds so I was gonna say simple. It's too low stakes to make you even frustrated. Like I don't know, like that's kind of how I felt about the gameplay here. Like
Yeah, maybe it's one of the aspects that we'll touch upon later. Is like it is maybe the lack of emotion that both of us were experiencing with regards to certain aspects of the game. And I think that both of us wished a higher kind of emotional connection to the stakes. You
yeah,
said the word a few times, right? Or the sentence. There are no stakes here, and maybe that's one of the aspects that we needed to care, right?
yeah,
We needed stakes, right?
yeah.
Not talking about meat, no? So,
That's right.
yeah.
Okay, Michael, let's move on to standout item number two. And I think this is, a real strength of this game is the
Mm,
visuals. So
mm,
let's talk a little bit about the visuals of the game. Um, this game is very bright, like very
yep,
colorful game, right? And I think that
yep,
does the game some good justice. I think one of the things that maybe is the highlight of the entire game is how it tackled moving to a new biome and how kind of like dirty and grimy it looked and how that environment transformed and very kind of incrementally as you
yes.
are cleaning it up. And I think that was really well done in this game.
Yeah, I think that there is really gorgeous pixel art,
Hmm.
but it really only comes to show once you've started cleaning up the kind of debris that's on the surface. And I think I love this idea of the browns and the blacks. Now that we have the blacks very much being the oil spills that were present. And once you started removing all that, then all of a sudden that whole sea life could come to life in all its vibrant colors. And definitely, Marcus, one of the highlights for me is I think it gave me pure joy to kind of see that sea life come to life, and then more water tortoises coming or more whales coming, and you kind of see the animals interacting, swimming,
Yep.
frolicking, if that is a term, right?
Yeah, no,
Yeah, I think that
I was going to mention this as well. Is like it was
yeah,
really cool to see the animals come to life and watch the whale, swimming underneath, and
yeah,
the tortoises, and um, yeah, the environment coming alive again. I
yeah,
guess.
yeah.
Yeah.
Highlight of the game for me,
Hmm.
just that, right?
Hmm. Even a lot of little details, like they had like not in the water, because you're basically only cleaning up the water. Although some
Hmm.
adjacent kind of areas, you're putting out some fires or creating snowballs, which I'm not entirely sure how that's what that means to clean.
Hmm.
But basically,
Hmm.
you're you're just shooting water onto the. But anyways, there
Yeah.
are some. What I was going to say was there are some good details that are outside of the water, like windmills,
Yes.
and solar panels too at different places, and I don't know. It wasn't just the aquatic kind of environment that was really well done. There's some details kind of extraneous to that.
On the land as well. I
Yeah,
think you could always see that it was inhabited, right? And the
yeah,
man's footprint, no? And I'm talking about man as a general term,
hmm
definitely was there. And I think one of the things, one of the achievements that I missed was putting out all the fires, right? So I
yeah,
missed a campfire. So I
yep.
need to go back a few biomes to find,
Did you get it? Did
where
you?
that fire was.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
I actually looked it up. I was like, I'm not traversing all of these environments to figure it out. So
how
I
did
looked.
you?
Yeah.
Uh,
It was back in the third biome, and I was in the
Yeah,
eighth. I was.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's where I had to go back to put out that
Yeah.
one campfire that I had missed. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Okay, Michael. Well, let's move on to standout item number three, and this is maybe a little bit of an unusual standout, but in discussing this, and maybe kind of our listeners are getting a sense of like this game feels very thin, let's say.
Yes.
And so we wanted to discuss because
It's so
I think both
diplomatic.
of us felt like, and it stood out to us that we wanted a little bit more from this game.
Mm.
And I guess like our third standout is like what we felt what might be missing from this game. So I know that Michael is our narrative guru on the show. So I know you're probably going to go narrative because there isn't much narrative here at all, Michael.
Yeah, so I think that's definitely we spoke about the stakes earlier, and I think the stakes have to do with some sort of story. We had, and I don't think I'm spoiling it, eight, beautiful biomes that we kind of go through and clean up. But in a sense, they're all, at least I felt, right, a little bit disconnected. Yes, they all make sense, but story-wise or narrative-wise, there wasn't a connection between the biomes per se. And so for me, it perhaps needed a little bit more narrative, a little bit more story. So imagine, for example, if saving dolphins, right, prevents them from migrating away, or also allowing kind of a deeper emotional connection with some of the animals, right, that you've rescued. I mean, they already have names, right?
Yep.
And I think that could be, or maybe is a missed opportunity with regards to how do those animals kind of help you getting the balance back, right, that we have lost, right, through our way of living. How can they support getting that balance back rather than just you and this boat? So I think that there's some story levels that they could have explored.
And it wouldn't have had to even been like overt. Like it's not like that you
No,
needed characters and dialogue. And I think that there was the potential of having it a little bit more abstract, but there being something more to hold on to for the player. Like what is happening as you're progressing through these environments, because really it's just like one environment to the next to the next to the
correct.
next, and you just clean it and then everything's good. There's
Rinse
not.
and repeat. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. um my initial thought with this kind of thing was, as I am more inclined to do, is thinking about what could they have added in terms of gameplay that would have engaged me a little bit more. And I don't think that this game needed needed to introduce stakes in a sense. Like I don't think we needed like combat. I don't think we needed
No,
like an antagonist, like a
totally with
overt.
you.
You know what I mean? But I do
Yeah,
think maybe where a spot that it could have been introduced a little bit more is that upgrade system. Kind of a
yeah.
little bit more investment into how I'm, because basically, like by the end, you're just fully upgraded your boat, more or less, and you're just you buy an upgrade when you can afford it, and it's just that. And I feel like there could have been a little bit maybe more complexity, a little bit more, I don't know, ownership of my boat and how I was kind of I don't know, building my boat and upgrading my boat and
Yeah, totally with you.
managing maybe some resources a little bit more.
Yeah.
Maybe there was, instead of just getting coins, maybe there's something else that you're collecting as well to try to, I don't know, do something along those, some a little bit more complexity in that regard. I think would have engaged me a little bit more in the gameplay.
I mean, the fact, for example, one of the highlights of the game was the fact that we saw whales, right, in one of the biomes, right? So
Hmm.
imagine if the rescued animals or the animals that we witness doesn't have necessarily have to be the rescued animals, but if they were given some agency, right? Because through a cleaner environment, they're also, I don't know, put in a position to support you. So things like I'm just thinking off my cuff, right? So whales, if you remember Nemo, who doesn't remember Nemo, right? If the whales could reveal like underwater currents that push debris right into one corner, that would have been an element or an example how agency could be given to animals, or birds in the sky, right? Exposing contamination zones. So we kind of look at how organic progression as you free these animals, how they could add to a little bit more of gameplay complexity, because I think this is what we're missing, right? From the ecosystem itself, how that could have added. I think that this game, it's a finished game, but maybe just needs another layer, if that makes sense, right? To
Yeah.
add that extra depth that we were missing.
That you
Oh
and I
boy,
felt were
yeah,
missing. And this game was
yeah,
recommended to us several times. So like
totally.
obviously it has an audience. It's got very well reviewed on
Mhm.
Steam. So maybe it's just an us issue, Michael. That's
Could
entirely
be,
possible. And
could be.
um, but yeah, this is well, I'll save my I guess my thoughts for at the rec. I guess
At
I'll
the
save my
recommendations.
thoughts. Yeah, at the recommendations. So um, yeah, I think like for us though, it did feel like there was something missing. I guess to kind of wrap up this standout. Yeah.
Can I vent, Marcus? You
Sure. Do you
say
want to
this
vent
game?
now or do you want to vent later?
No, I wanna vent because this game does have a boss battle.
Okay. Sure.
Um,
It does have a boss battle right at the very end. There
right at
is
the
I
very
guess
end.
with quotation marks a boss battle, but yes, a boss
Yes,
battle.
and at this boss battle that does not make sense to me because it kind of goes for me against the little narrative that we had. Should we reveal what this boss battle is about?
Sure. Yeah. I don't think
Okay.
again, I don't think that there's really anything that is going to ruin people's experiences. If perhaps if you want to be completely avoid of go forward, a few minutes. I don't think we're going to spend
Exactly.
more than that. Yeah.
Exactly. So we have to battle, or at least we encounter one of the biomes, a bigger ship cruiser. I'm not sure what you would call it, right? That kind of goes around the biome, and the
It's
way
almost
that
like
you
an
bat,
oil tanker or something.
it's almost like an oil tanker, a tanker of sorts,
Yeah.
perhaps, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And the way that you battle is that you have to fill it up with water, which wasn't obvious, I think, for both of us at the beginning.
Mhm.
How to combat it. Um, but you win this boss battle by basically submerging, right, this tanker per se. And for me, it's like, okay, I don't know how this necessarily is able to restore balance, because A, you're doing harm, you're being violent, and you're adding to the pollution that you're fighting, right?
Yeah.
By sinking one of these things. No? And for me, it wasn't, this game is about changing hearts. And this wasn't an instance where hearts could be changed, but rather, I think, demonstrated how hardened the fronts are, right? The environmentalist versus, I don't know, the rest of the capitalists, if I'm going to give it a name. And for me, it was not solved in the best possible way. I know that I'm maybe being too harsh here, But it irked me. It totally irked me. And I felt a bit disconnect with the overall message and sense that Spilled, I think, was trying to bring across.
Yeah.
Sorry, I've raved. That's
Well,
what
I
I
mean,
needed to vent.
I don't
Yeah,
disagree, and I take your point narratively. Gameplay wise, it didn't make a lot of sense either to me.
yeah,
So it didn't really work for me on a gameplay level either because it is
mm,
very inconsistent with the rest of the gameplay that you see in the
correct.
game. So yeah, I don't disagree. I don't disagree. Okay, Michael, let's
Uh,
wrap up our discussion here on Spilled. And we always do by asking ourselves if we recommend the game, and if so, to whom?
Oof. Okay, so let me try. So if you are an eco-conscious gamer, I think that would be it's a nice topic to pick up on. But I think if you expect a little bit more depth from your gameplay, regardless of the theme that this game covers, maybe not that. However, and let's gonna be honest, the saving grace, and it's like maybe the two sides of the coin, right? This game is short, could be a positive. This game is too short, could be a negative. But it is cozy for the small moment that you have playing this game. It could be a good game if you are a parent or an educator of, I don't know, smaller children who are maybe brought into this topic for the first time and don't know much about, what ecology means. This would be a good entry level into this topic. So there, I would say it's a high recommendation. But I think for at least for me, Marcus, and I'm not sure whether I can speak about us, but we do expect a little bit more from the games that we play. And so for me, I would say, hey, if you're a bit more of a mature gamer, then this would be one that I say, no, I would not necessarily recommend it. I'm
Yeah,
sorry to say it that way. Yeah. So,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I think like we do, we acknowledge that this is a solo dev. I think that this is really their first kind of major quote major in quotation mark, but bigger release that they've
Yep.
ever done, and it did quite well for them. So congrats to
Absolutely.
them. It largely just was not what I was looking for. It doesn't sound like it was what you were looking for either,
No.
Michael. This game, I obviously it has its audience. I think like the thing that struck me about this game is like it felt a little bit like a miniature version of something like a power wash simulator game,
Yeah.
which is not a
Good
Marcus
point.
game at all, right? You're going out. There's no stakes, low stakes to no stakes. You're just going around. And for me, if you're looking for more than that, then this probably isn't for you. If that's what
Yep.
that's the type of experience you're looking for, just kind of a chill, you're just accomplishing tasks at your leisure, um, and with little to no penalty for not
Hmm.
doing them in a certain way or at a certain time or a certain, this does that. If
Yep.
you want anything more than that, this ain't it. It's a pretty, bare bones kind of simple experience.
Low
And
pressure, no pressure experience. Correct.
totally,
Hmm.
totally. Even at that, we talked about the boss fight at the end. There's no, you could let it, putter around the environment as long as you want. There's no time limit. You can kind of let it do its own thing. So there's no, it's just there's so low to no stakes in this game. And for me, I guess that's just not what I'm looking for. I
Yeah.
want a bit of something more because if it's such a passive sort of experience, I can get that from watching television or a movie or something like that.
Correct.
And it felt a little too passive for me. So I guess, Michael, that's it for episode 29. We'll do a little bit of housekeeping as we wrap things up here. Of course, we would really appreciate it if you shared, liked, subscribed, and left us a 5-star review wherever you happen to be listening. And aside from that, you can follow the show on Blue Sky at Tiny Game Chronicles, and you can follow me on Blue Sky at Marcus O'Neill 79. Michael, where can people find you?
You can also find me on Blue Sky, Drellish, Drellesh, as well as Tiny Game Community, Tiny Game Chronicles Community. Link will be in the show notes, so you're welcome to join our Discord.
Yeah, and we've got, I don't want to forget, we do have a YouTube channel now, Michael.
Woohoo!
Yeah,
Excited! yeah,
Yeah.
it's I think a new venture for us. And we're obviously also developing some shorts to add some traffic into the YouTube or onto the YouTube channel. Yeah, and we'd love some more subscriptions. We have not done YouTube before, so both of us are totally green YouTube novices, and I think that we'll learn as we go. But it's a very different medium, Marcus. But I think one that I'm excited we're tackling, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so we'll put the full episode up. We've been recording these things video all along, Michael. So
Correct.
it was more just a matter of kind of getting to a point where, we were comfortable enough to put them up there. But so we've had the video for all our episodes, but now we're going to start putting the full episode. It'll
Yep.
probably be less edited than the
Yeah.
audio version for folks.
Yeah.
And then, like
Almost
Michael said,
unedited.
yeah, almost unedited, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't have
Yeah.
the time or the inclination to do too
Yeah.
much editing on that. But just another way that people can consume the show. So if
Mm.
that's something that you prefer, find Tiny Game Chronicles on YouTube and subscribe, and you'll get notified that the episodes when they get live. And like Michael said, we're going to be trying to do a few shorts here and there per episode. And those have been fun to do actually. So
Yes, there are.
yeah. So yeah, check it out there. So Michael, the last thing that we need to do before we sign off here is introduce our next game. So this is the first game from a Swiss developer by the name of Okamotive. They've since released 2 more games. In this game, you travel in a unique vehicle across a dried out ocean following the tracks of a once thriving civilization. And Michael, the name of this game is
Far Lone Sails.
Far Lone Sails. Yes. I know you've started this already. I have not I've not booted it up just yet. But it's something that's kind of came on my radar more recently. There's a second Far game, and then just a few months ago, as of recording, Okamotive released Herdling, which is also a tiny
Yes.
game. And so that's actually kind of how it came onto my radar. I was like, oh, this is the third game. So I looked into the previous ones, and this one gives me some vibes of a game that is one of my favorites that I played this year, Michael, The Altars. So this is kind of gives me some
Yes.
The Altars vibes, and I'm really looking forward to jumping in. So it's like supposedly around 3-ish hours. So, The Altars, but 3-ish hours sounds pretty good to me.
I think it makes me reflect the little bit that I've played, Marcus. Now, I have a question for you. I'm not sure whether you're able to answer it. Is this, I'm asking for a friend, right? Is this on PlayStation?
I actually don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
I picked it up really cheap on Steam.
Okay. Okay.
Um, I wouldn't be shocked if it is, because it has been out a
Okay.
little while. But I don't know. Well,
Okay. Okay.
I'll
Well,
update everybody when we do the show in a couple of weeks. But yeah,
I'm just asking for a very good friend, right? So, so and we both know who that is, right? So,
that's right. Yeah,
no, but I'm looking forward discussing this game with you. What I've played, I have liked. Yep, it's another adventure with a boat, but it's
yes.
not spilled in any way.
I had told you offline. It reminds me a little bit as well of the world of Jusant, like kind of
Yes.
another tiny game Chronicles alumni Jusant. So
Yes, yes,
kind of like an
yes.
abandoned world, environmental catastrophe, that
It
sort of thing.
has
So
elements of the Cub too, although the Cub is
oh,
a
okay,
very different game. But
sure,
it has those type of elements in there as well.
okay.
So yeah, let's see how we end up enjoying this game. I'm looking forward to finishing it. I think, the first quarter through, and I'm liking what I've played so far. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, well, I guess that's it for today. I guess I will just say thank you for listening, and we will be back in 2 weeks with Far Lone
Lone
Sails.
sales. See you then.
Bye bye.
Bye.